Welcome to In the Zone with Anthony Smith. On a Tuesday, I told you I'd be back. And after a full slate of games and Monday Night Football wrapping up Week 2, we'll take a look back at the highlights of Week 2 and get you ready for Week 3 in the NFL. All right here on In the Zone with yours truly, Anthony Smith. However, there's one thing I want to do before we get started. There's a product that I highly endorse that I actually use myself. It's called Drink to Shrink. So if you're feeling sluggish and looking for a natural way to support your wellness journey, introducing Drink to Shrink Instant Tea. This delicious, convenient tea is made with a blend of natural ingredients to help you feel your best every day. Whether you're looking to support healthy energy levels, maintain your wellness routine, or simply enjoy a refreshing drink, Drink to Shrink makes it easy. Just mix with water and enjoy. Try Drink to Shrink Instant Tea today and take a step toward a healthier lifestyle. Special offer for podcast listeners. Use podcast 15 for 15% off your first order. And you can order that at www.bepic.com. That's BEPIC.com/Saxman Health. That's SAXMANHELTH. Once again, that's bepic.com/Saxman Health. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to get into some NFL. That's right, you're in the zone. The NFL. I know some of y'all were watching Sunday night's game, and there was a moment after that game where C.J. Stroud shares post-game advice with Caleb Williams in a mic'd up moment. So the Houston Texans defeated the Chicago Bears Sunday night, but C.J. Stroud wanted to leave Caleb Williams with some words of encouragement. When Stroud and Williams shook hands moments after Houston's 19-13 win, the Texans quarterback spoke with the highly touted rookie. Williams could be seen mostly nodding along to what Stroud was saying, which was a mystery at the time. As it turns out, Stroud was mic'd up for the moment. In a social media post Tuesday, NFL Films shared what Stroud told the number one pick from the 2024 NFL Draft, with the reigning NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year giving Williams some advice. "Good job out there, bro," Stroud told Williams. "Hey, stop taking those hits." "Yeah, I know, right," Williams replied. But I think I can pull this audio up right now. Let's see if we can pull it up here.
Hey, stop taking those hits. Yeah, I know. Hey, learn from those mistakes, and everything that you got, bro, is in you already, bro. You're gonna be a hell of a player in this league. Yeah. All right, boy. Appreciate it. For sure. Good job out there, bro. Yeah. Hey.
So, as you can see, I just believe that the quarterback fraternity is like a brotherhood. So, in that, you couldn't see the video, but you could hear the audio. As Williams was about to walk away, Stroud appeared to pull him back to hammer down his point about playing safe before complimenting him. He says, "Hey, learn. Look, come here," Stroud told Williams. "Learn from those mistakes, and everything that you got, bro, is in you already, bro. You're going to be a hell of a player in this league." Williams simply told Stroud, "I appreciate it," before the two parted. On Sunday, Williams had a pretty tough night against the hard-hitting Houston defense. He was sacked 7 times and pressured 36 times while the Texans recorded 11 quarterback hits. He also carried the ball 5 times for a team-high 44 yards. But he slid at the end of a few of those runs to avoid more collisions. Let me go back. It says he slid at the end of a few of those runs to avoid more collisions. Why did I have to go back and rehash that? Because I still have this image in my mind of Tua Tagovailoa not sliding. Like I said, I sympathize with the injury and the fact that he's going to be missing some time. But that all could have been avoided had he did one thing that Caleb Williams did. He slid to avoid that collision. Through 2 starts, Williams has completed just 56.1% of his passes and has yet to throw a touchdown. He went 23 of 37 for 174 yards against the Texans, an improvement from the 93-yard day he had against the Tennessee Titans in Week 1. However, Williams threw the first 2 interceptions of his career in Sunday's loss. Of course, Williams' career has only begun, and he can get better. He could even look at Stroud as someone who improved throughout his rookie year. Stroud lost the first 2 starts of his NFL career, both by double digits. He was also sacked 11 times in those 2 losses. Stroud wound up turning things around with the Texans. He threw for 4,108 yards, 23 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions with a 100.8 passer rating to cap off one of the best rookie quarterback seasons ever. Houston rode Stroud's success to a 10-7 record in the regular season and a postseason win before falling in the divisional round of the playoffs. Williams and the Bears are hoping to have a similar success, but they have some work to do in order to get there. When you think about those sacks, though, you have to think it starts at one place: the offensive line. And yes, maybe there are some instances where maybe Caleb Williams can avoid those sacks, maybe avoid those hits, maybe get rid of the ball a little bit quicker. Make sure it's not intentional grounding, but make sure you get rid of the ball a little bit quicker. Throw the ball away. Save those hits. Some of those hits you can avoid, but it's a combination of the line and his release. The line has to do a better job of protecting their asset, and right now their asset is Caleb Williams. Their cash cow is Caleb Williams. I just believe if you can keep him upright and keep him from running for his life, you might can turn this thing around maybe even quicker than what the Texans did. Remember, Stroud lost his first 2 games by double digits, but they turned it around. Chicago, you can learn a lot. So, hopefully, Williams can get things turned around, because it would be nice to see teams like Chicago in contention for titles. Some of the story teams, now, those orange uniforms, I kind of like them. But when I look at Chicago, I envision Jim McMahon, Walter Payton, Refrigerator Perry, Richard Dent. Even though I like those uniforms, just stick with your regulars, because there are some iconic uniforms in the NFL that they might tweak a little bit, but they pretty much keep their base. Chicago is one. Pittsburgh Steelers, Dallas Cowboys, San Francisco 49ers. And I'm hoping that Seattle will someday, as they did in their first game, go back to their originals, because they look good in those throwback uniforms. But it's more about Caleb Williams, and hopefully they can learn. There are some, like I said, there are some teams. The NFL is in a better place with certain teams at the top. That being Dallas Cowboys, San Francisco 49ers, Kansas City, Green Bay, Chicago, Pittsburgh. I think that's when the NFL will be at its best. That's not to count out some of the occasional run-of-the-mills, Tampa Bay. And we'll speak about them later, because listening at some of the talk show hosts talking about Baker Mayfield, they're wondering how long can this last? I think it can last as long as Tampa Bay is doing the right things to keep him in the position that he's in right now. If you remember when he got drafted by the Cleveland Browns, he was pretty much supposed to be the savior of the team. But I'll get back to that because there's another story that's really buzzing and blowing up. The Carolina Panthers. Why are we talking about the Carolina Panthers? They are not even relevant. Why am I talking about them? Because someone has just been benched. Panthers benched 2023 number 1 overall pick Bryce Young. I can't help but wonder how much of it is on him and how much of it is on them. I know for a fact that you've let some of his weapons get away the last few years. You still don't have an offensive line worth crap. But the Carolina Panthers are benching Bryce Young. Veteran Andy Dalton will start at quarterback in Young's place for Panthers' Week 3 matchup against the Las Vegas Raiders. NFL media first reported the news Monday. Young, who the Panthers selected in the 2023 NFL Draft after trading up for the number 1 overall pick, has struggled through the first 2 games of the 2024 season after an underwhelming rookie year. He completed 31 of 56 passes, 55.4% for 245 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions, with a 44.1 passer rating through the first 2 games of the season. He rushed for a touchdown in Week 1. The Panthers made a significant investment in that deal with Chicago, sending wide receiver DJ Moore and 4 draft picks to the Bears, one of which turned out to be the number 1 overall pick in the 2024 NFL Draft after the Panthers finished a league worst 2-15 last season. As a result of Young's poor play, Carolina's offense has also been the worst in the league through the first 2 weeks of the season. The Panthers have only scored 13 points and has 393 yards of total offense through 2 games. Young had a better stat line as a rookie, but was still statistically one of the worst starting quarterbacks in the NFL. He completed 59.8% of his passes for 2,877 yards, 11 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, with a 73.7 passer rating over 16 games. He went 2-14 over the 16 starts he made as the Panthers finished with the league's worst record and is now 2-16 in his career. The Panthers hired Tampa Bay Buccaneers offensive coordinator Dave Canales to become their next head coach over the offseason, hoping that he would be able to bring the best out of Young after revitalizing Baker Mayfield's career. How about getting him some weapons like what Baker Mayfield has? Canales initially said the team was sticking with Young following their 26-3 loss to the Los Angeles Chargers on Sunday. Bryce is our quarterback, Canales told reporters. I'd love to see this thing just continue to take the next steps offensively right now. Now, the 36-year-old Dalton will be counted on to steer the ship for the 0-2 Panthers while Young's future in Carolina becomes uncertain. So now the question to throw out there is this. Are the Carolina Panthers doing the right thing? You heard it in the report how they sent DJ Moore to Chicago Bears. Of course, we know Christian McCaffrey got away a couple of years ago. So my question is, what have they restocked with those departures? They sure don't have a Christian McCaffrey type player. They don't have a DJ Moore type wide receiver. And you're expecting the quarterback position to be your savior, whether it be Bryce Young or whether it be an aging Andy Dalton. We know Andy Dalton isn't the Andy Dalton that he used to be. He may be good for the locker room, for the young guys, because at best he's grandpa. So are the Carolina Panthers making the right move? It's as if they're trying to clean up the bottom when, in essence, maybe the top needs to be cleaned out. We'll talk about that another time. I'll tell you what I am going to do, though. I am going to get ready to take a break. And when I come back, we're going to look at some more NFL related topics. So don't you dare go nowhere. You're locked in the zone with yours truly, Anthony Smith. Be right back. Welcome back to In the Zone with yours truly, Anthony Smith. As promised, we are going to recap what happened in week 2. And if time permits, we will also get you ready for week number 3. If that doesn't work out to where we can get you ready for week number 3, trust me, I'll be back tomorrow and we will get you ready for week 3 because we got a Thursday night game coming up. But we're definitely going to take a look back at week number 2, as it also has some betting recap. The 2024 NFL Week 2 betting recap couldn't have written a better script. When the NFL Sunday schedule features 10 games in the early window and a bunch of popular favorites fall flat, there's no getting around it. The public betting masses take a big bath. That's what happened with NFL Week 2 odds. Baltimore Ravens, losers. Dallas Cowboys, losers. Detroit Lions, losers. San Francisco 49ers, losers. The Ravens losing was a monumental result. Cowboys and Niners as well couldn't have written a better script, said Zachary Lucas, director of retail sports for TwinSpire Sportsbook. Odds makers at sportsbooks large and small across the country sang a similar refrain while recapping the weekend that was in the NFL and college betting. Cowboys crumble. In terms of the point spread, the Las Vegas Raiders' 26-23 victory over Baltimore was the biggest upset on Sunday. But in terms of the most surprising outcome, that honor must go to the New Orleans Saints' 44-19 roasting of the Dallas Cowboys. The Saints were 6.5 point road underdogs, and they were the consensus need of odds maker Sunday. It's one-way traffic on the Cowboys. We're going to need the Saints, bet MGM trading manager Seamus McGee said before kickoff. Joe Brennan Jr., executive chairman of Prime Sportsbook, put out a more blanket pregame statement. I would be shocked if there is a bookmaker out there who is not going to need the Saints. Both sharps and the public seem to have found that game, Brennan said. So the Saints suited Brennan and countless other bookmakers just fine. We were huge Saints fans today, and they came through big time, Brennan said afterwards. At South Point Sportsbook director Chris Andrews, maybe the Saints really are good. They came out strong today. Moneyline parlay punch out. The main reason those 4 upsets were so huge behind the counter stems from a weekly ritual in the NFL, recreational bettors stringing together popular favorites or even popular teams who might be underdogs on occasions on moneyline parlay bets. With moneyline parlays, the bettor doesn't have to worry about the point spread. All each team has to do is win the game, which with bigger favorites sounds easy enough until it's not. Along with the Saints and Raiders takedown, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers went to Detroit as 7.5-point underdogs to beat the Lions 2016, and the Minnesota Vikings 4-point home underdog beat defending NFC champ San Francisco 23-17. By the time the three late window games rolled around Sunday, everybody's moneyline parlay tickets were torn up. No doubt, we had a great early window. Superbook Executive Director John Murray said, "The Raiders, Saints, and Browns were all good for us. The Saints game was stunning." Cleveland obviously doesn't fit the mold of the big upsets, but it boosted the Superbook's bottom line as the Browns 3-point underdogs at Jacksonville won 18-13. Chiefs Texans failed to cover. In the big late window game, the Kansas City Chiefs were a hugely popular point spread play at home against the Cincinnati Bengals. Kansas City closed as a 6.5-point favorite but trailed multiple times. The Chiefs ultimately squeaked out a 26-25 win on a Harrison Butker 51-yard field goal as time expired. But that meant the Bengals covered with relative ease. That was key for Prime Sportsbook. There are two truths this year. We will probably always need Carolina, and we'll be rooting against Kansas City, Brennan said. The Panthers were a fairly universal bookmaker need on Sunday, but Carolina, a 4.5-point home underdog versus the Los Angeles Chargers, continued to look dreadful in a 26-3 loss. However, with the upsets on Sunday, giving some money back to Chargers customers hardly mattered. Then on Sunday night, C.J. Stroud and the Houston Texans closed a 6.5-point home favorite against the Chicago Bears. Sharp bettors were on Chicago, though. That money was overwhelmed by public support for Houston. Said Brennan, pregame, Bears versus Texans is setting up to be the biggest pro versus recreational game of the week. The pros love Chicago, however, the public can't get enough of Houston. Final result, Houston won 19-13, but Chicago covered the 6.5-point spread. A Bears win would have been better, but the cover was good, Superbook risk supervisor Chase Michelson said. So there's your look back at some of the NFL betting and how things shaped up in regards to betting recaps. So let's look at the hierarchy. Texans, Bills, Saints move up after 2-0 starts. After 2 weeks of the 2024 NFL season, there are several surprising 2-0 teams, which caused a major shakeup as Fox Sports' Colin Cowherd revealed his latest herd hierarchy on Tuesday's episode of The Herd. Several new additions made the list, including the New Orleans Saints and Minnesota Vikings after massive upsets against the Dallas Cowboys and San Francisco 49ers, respectively. Other 2-0 squads like the Houston Texans and Los Angeles Chargers brought it into Cowherd's top 5 after impressive showings last week. And we are going to take a look at that herd hierarchy week 2. Coming in at number 10, Cincinnati Bengals, 0-2, last week unranked. Cowherd's thoughts. Their next 4 opponents are 1-7. The Bengals are fine at 0-2. If you can go into Arrowhead against maybe the best defense in the league, arguably, outplay the Chiefs, and double their yards in the 4th, you're fine. Zach Taylor's teams don't do well in September. Joe Burrow doesn't do well. I'll say it again about the time pumpkin spice lattes are available at Starbucks. That's when they're good. I like this team. Number 9, San Francisco 49ers, 1-1. Last week, they were number 2. Cowherd's thoughts. The Niners have the second highest rated offense in the league. They're beat up offensively. That's why I put them back at 9. Here's what I really worry about. Brock Purdy's been sacked 8 times in 2 games, and I don't look at the Vikings as having very good pass rushers. They're beat up, and they're not protecting Brock Purdy. But thank God they still have a very good deck with Deebo Samuels and Christian McCaffrey, but they're not the same team. Without Deebo Samuel and Christian McCaffrey, but they're not the same team. Number 8, the Seattle Seahawks, 2-0 last week, unranked. Super Bowl odds plus 4,500. Yeah, let me throw these odds in there so y'all know what's going on there. Cowherd's thoughts. I don't know what to do with the Seahawks. Geno Smith, to his credit, like Baker Mayfield, is playing really well. Dude's completing 74% of his throws. Here's what I know. The last 2 drafts were excellent. And I'm seeing this young defensive coach, Mike McDonald, like a D'Amico Ryan, do really cool things. DK Metcalf, Jackson Smith and Jigba, and are tremendous. And Tyler Lockett. I love their weapons. You can win a lot of games in this league when your quarterback is a big guy that is accurate 74% of the time. Number 7, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 2-0 last week. Number 10, Cowherd's thoughts. I buy into it. Baker's playing his butt off. 8-2 over his last 10 starts. He and Chris Godwin are totally connecting. Now, the Denver game this week is sneaky. To go to Detroit, they went in there all banged up and injury riddled, and they won. So I buy Tampa. I buy Baker. He's playing with a ton of confidence. I've always thought Todd Bowles was a good defensive coach. I like the coach, and I like the quarterback. Number 6, Minnesota Vikings, 2-0 last week, unranked. Super Bowl odds plus 5,000. Cowherd's thoughts. I don't know how long it's going to last. They lead the NFL with 11 sacks. I don't think that's going to last over the course of the season. But they are 9-0 under this head coach, Kevin O'Connell, when they tie or win the turnover battle. He's cleaned up Sam Darnold significantly. That's what he does. He is a quarterback whisperer. Darnold led a game-winning, clinching drive without Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, and T.J. Hockenson. I think we may have the best young coach in football in Minnesota. Number 5, New Orleans Saints, 2-0. Last week, unranked. Super Bowl odds plus 3,500. Cowherd's thoughts. I like the Saints. Let's not go crazy. I need one more week of the Saints. Derek Carr, I've got to give him credit. Alvin Kamara is a beast, and they're leaning on him heavy. They have the highest rushing percentage at 64% in the NFL through the first 2 weeks. And Clint Kubiak is from the 49ers system. These quarterbacks get the Niners system, and they look different. So what I'm going to do right here, I'm going to take a break, and when I come back, I will conclude this list, and I will look at some more on In the Zone with yours truly, Anthony Smith. Welcome back to In the Zone with yours truly, Anthony Smith, and hope you are enjoying your Tuesday. As we take a look at, I can't believe I'm actually referencing Colin Cowherd. That's just something I normally don't do, but he does have some interesting points. I could have easily played the audio of this, but I just rather read it myself. I think I sound better than he does. Make sure he gets a hold of this, all right? Matter of fact, I'm going to make sure I post this podcast when it's done. I'm going to post it on X for sure. I'm going to tag him in it. I hope he listens to it. I hope he gives me some feedback. Yes, I want Colin Cowherd to give me some feedback. He is played on a local station here in town. I'm not going to say their name. As a matter of fact, he's on at the same time. There's another guy on by the name of Jim Rome at a station that I work for on a part-time basis. I could say their name, KFH Sports Radio. But we were looking at the herd hierarchy, and we stopped at 5, so we're just going to basically run it down to you what the teams were on this hierarchy as according to Colin Cowherd. Number 10 was the Cincinnati Bengals. Number 9, the San Francisco 49ers. Number 8, the Seattle Seahawks. Number 7, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Number 6, Minnesota Vikings. Number 5, New Orleans Saints. Which now leads us to number 4, Buffalo Bills at 2-0 last week, unranked, Super Bowl odds plus 1,200. Cowherd's thoughts. This is the first time in 7-8 years they have a star running back. They can run the football now. 9-2 since offensive coordinator Joe Brady arrived. Josh Allen has been very dependent on offensive coordinators to clean him up. This is a new offense. The tight ends are excellent. The receivers don't have a star, but they have depth. Allen is one of the 2 quarterbacks in the league without a turnover. Again, he's very coordinator dependent. Number 3. Some of y'all might laugh at this, but you can't take away the fact that they're 2-0, so enjoy it. The Los Angeles Chargers, the Lightning Bolts, in their powder blue uniforms. I'd like to see them go back to the dark blue uniforms with the dark blue helmet, the LaDainian Tomlinson look, the white pants. That's just my thought. Cowherd's thoughts. I buy the Chargers. Their tackles, Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater, were the 2 highest graded tackles in the entire league. J.K. Dobbins looked like Ohio State. J.K. Dobbins. Justin Herbert, for the record, is 18-0 when his team allows less than 20 points. He just needs a coach. Now, I don't think their defense will remain this viable, but they have 2 pass rushers, 2 elite tackles, and a run game. This is a real team. Number 2, Houston, Texas, 2-0. Last week, they were at 7. Super Bowl odds plus 1,100. Cowherd's thoughts. I buy the Texans. I didn't even think they played well against Chicago. They're young, and I can see them getting to the AFC Championship and making a silly play and losing to Kansas City. C.J. Stroud is insane. That kid is the most effortlessly accurate guy outside of maybe Burrow and Mahomes in the league. Nico Collins, his size, they're comparing him to Andre Johnson. They've got multiple weapons, a great left tackle, the quarterback, the coach, the culture. Keyword, the culture. And of course, number 1, Kansas City, 2-0 last week. Number 1, Super Bowl odds plus 450. Cowherd's thoughts. I don't worry. I don't think they're very good at tackle. They were not very good on 3rd down against the Bengals. They got to clean that up. It is hard to win a Super Bowl, even with Mahomes, if you don't love the offensive line, and I don't. But I think their coaching, their structure, their defense, Chris Jones, now Travis Kelce, I don't worry too much about because he was invisible for spots last year, then arrived when it mattered. Even though Hollywood Brown is not going to be back for a while, I think their weapons feel like significant upgrades to me. So there is the herd hierarchy. Some more news centered around week 2 before we wrap things up here. Chiefs comfortable winning ugly. What we learned from every Sunday game. We may get through every Sunday game, we may not. It's only week 2, but the NFL has proven once again that you never know what's going to happen on any given Sunday. Good thing we've got you covered. Fox Sports NFL experts provide the biggest takeaways from Sunday game and what they mean for each team. First game up, Bengals 25, Chiefs 26. Bengals. Joe Burrow should have known better than to give the ball to Patrick Mahomes 2 minutes and a deficit of fewer than 3 points. I don't care how well the Cincinnati Bengals defense played during the previous 58 minutes. I don't care if Mahomes played one of the worst games of his career. Mahomes simply flips on a switch in those situations. More on that in a second. But for Burrow, who had a 3-1 record against Mahomes, I expected more. I expected him to drive down the field and convert the drive into points. Instead, his final dropbacks were an incompletion and a sack. The good news is that T. Higgins is back. The bad news is that Jamar Chase seems off, and the reason is obvious. His contract. And the Bengals are now 0-2. That's going to be a tough hole to get out of in the AFC North, where the Ravens also 0-2. Steelers and Browns are going to be scrapping for wins. Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes converted a 4th and 16 to win. Yes, he and receiver Rashee Rice drew a penalty on the Bengals on the play, but it was a conversion nonetheless. That's just how it goes with Mahomes, who is probably the best 4th and 16 quarterback in the history of the game. It's a silly thing to say, but there is no quarterback, not even Tom Brady, who I would pick to convert a 4th and 16 over Mahomes. If it wasn't a pretty game for the Chiefs offense, it wasn't a pretty game for the Chiefs offense. Their defense bailed them out in the clutch, but they have a quarterback who always does just enough to eke out wins. This team was supposed to look different than last year's team, with the defense losing some of its stars, most notably L'Jarius Sneed, and the offense adding help, Hollywood Brown and rookies Xavier Worthy and Kinsley Samatiao. But this team's identity is basically what it was last year. Win, sometimes as ugly as possible. The contributing writer for that story was Henry McKenna. And as I'm looking here, I am going to table the rest of this for tomorrow, because time will not allow me to go through this. So we will take a look back at everything from week 2 on tomorrow, and also get you ready for week 3, all right here on In the Zone. However, I hope that you have enjoyed today's episode of In the Zone. I hope you found it informative. Want to encourage you. You can hear this podcast on Spotify, iHeart, and other platforms. But I also want to encourage you to download the Spreaker app. That's Spreaker. Download that app, because that will get you directly in touch with me. You can leave comments there. You can follow. You can download all that good stuff. Now, it may ask you to set up an account, Google or iPhone, but it's not asking for no donations or anything. It's just making sure you have a Spreaker account. Then that way you can follow me. And like I say, I love feedback. I love interaction. I want to meet you people. I may not get to see y'all physically, but we can still meet. So if you download the Spreaker app, then you can leave comments, you can like, download all that good stuff, and share. But until the next time, let everybody know that if you got your information, that you heard it right here in the zone with yours truly, Anthony Smith. Anthony Smith here from In the Zone. Want to introduce you to a new product. Feeling sluggish and looking for a natural way to support your wellness journey? Introducing Drink to Shrink Instant Tea. This delicious, convenient tea is made with a blend of natural ingredients to help you feel your best every day. Whether you're looking to support healthy energy levels, maintain your wellness routine, or simply enjoy a refreshing drink, Drink to Shrink makes it easy. Just mix with water and enjoy. Try Drink to Shrink Instant Tea today and take a step toward a healthier lifestyle. Use code PODCAST15 for 15% off your first order. And you can order this at www.bepic.com/SaxmanHealth. That's www.bepic.com/SaxmanHealth. Once again, beepic.com/SaxmanHealth.